Yo, what is up guys? We're coming to a brand new video. By the way, thank you for 500 views on the PlayStation 5 event date revealed on that video. I really want to thank you so much. I was right on that video. June 11, it's the date. Make sure you knock it out of the park because we're gonna see it and I'm gonna talk about it right there. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it. We're gonna really tell how the games run, and I'm gonna make a video tomorrow about what games we can expect on Thursday, and make sure you be ready. So guys, today I'm going to talk about The Last of Us Part 2 first impression. In this video, it's not coming by my first impression. I'm not going to talk about the game first impressions until I got the game and play it. I saw it, but I really don't want to get into it. This is coming from Eurogamer, and I'm going to talk about the PlayStation 4 Pro when it plays The Last of Us Part 2, and I have heard crazy things about that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you like the video, and make sure you share it. And by the way, I got an official Twitter, make sure you follow me there. So The Last of Us Part 2 hands-on with Naughty Dog, stunning farewell to PS4. And the possibilities for the PlayStation are mouth-watering. Last big hooray of the PlayStation 3 era, The Last of Us launched on June 14, 2013. 5 months before the arrival of the PlayStation 4. A technological masterpiece for the era and crowning achievement for the Sony first-party development. There's a strong argument that the developer Naughty Dog pushed the aging hardware to its very limit. A fitting send-off to the console by one of its most accomplished developers. Almost 7 years later today, the studio is set to repeat the trick with the imminent arrival of The Last of Us Part 2. So if you didn't know, The Last of Us Part 1 was one of the games that pushed boundaries on the PlayStation 3. And let me tell you, right to this day, that game is just majestic looking, okay? I'm playing it right now on the PlayStation with a 4K TV, and it just looks mouth-watering. And I really want to know, I really want to see how I can feel it on my hands. How does it play on a regular base PS4? And that's how I run things. I really got the game I want to play and run on a base PS4 and then run on the base of PlayStation Pro because I want to see the difference. So preview coverage for this is a little tricky. While we play the game, what we can explicitly comment on is highly limited, and the only asset we can share from it is slides of the game have already been shown on last week's State of Play. But what we can confidently share is that, to put it simply, The Last of Us Part 2 does not disappoint. From a technological standpoint, there's a clear path of progression from The Last of Us Remaster, though they're still running on Uncharted 4 and often overlook Lost Legacy right up to its latest Naughty Dog showcase. Some of the basics are easily covered, essentially remaining unchanged from prior trailers. And indeed, Uncharted 4 before it, rendering resolution on a PlayStation Pro is still 1440p, backed up by the firm's clean temporal anti-alias solution. Performance is a solid 30 frames per second with a deviation and actually improved overall compared to the Uncharted 4 showing on PlayStation Pro. In terms of image quality and frame rate, we don't anticipate much complaint. However, just as The Last of Us saw Naughty Dog engine evolve over Nathan Drake titles on the PlayStation 3, so we see very different aesthetics in The Last of Us Part 2. With the emphasis on direct line again coming to the fore, Joel and Ellie's story takes place in a world where most areas of the game are illuminated only by the sun, with only select environments seeing any other form lighting the way light interacts with the rich geometry and the high quality materials. It's first class, producing some beautiful but often bleak results. The sheer and density is also remarkable. This is the world reclaimed by nature, and accurately portraying organic elements isn't easy, especially with the sheer amount of grass, foliage, trees in a given scene. The emphasis on lighting and fidelity was also focused with the first of The Last of Us, except in that going back to the PS3 original and its PS4 remaster now, everything looks more flatty, shaded, more cartoon-like even. It's this focus on realism that really shines through. Naughty Dog has the horsepower to massively improve material quality in light interaction over its predecessor, while ambient shadowing plays a key part in ensuring that everything sits comfortably and consistently within the presentation. Water rendering and reflection quality is also excellent. In fact, you can isolate individual parts of the game visuals make up on note their effectiveness. But it's when they all combine that even the less complex areas of the game manage to look remarkable, impressive. So what the person here is saying that The Last of Us looks amazing, and we can all be sure about that. But he's playing on the regular on a PlayStation Pro. He's not playing on the regular. But this is when I'm gonna get right into it, just in a moment, because I really want to talk about how the PlayStation runs on the PlayStation Pro. Expanding the scope of play is a signature evolution of The Last of Us 2 across the board. But again, it's the state of play that highlights this best. It's here where the AI seems to significantly improve over the game. We see Ellie working her way through an ongoing human versus infected battle using distractions to fight a way through. More interesting is that the clearly smart partner AI on display, one of our regrets with the first game was that the partnership between Ellie and Joel didn't translate into realistic behavior in a game. That's true. Like, Ellie was a good AI, but it didn't feel like an emotional attachment when you play the game. Stay of play clips reveal more aware, proactive partner characters, and they come across like a significant upgrade. So this is first impression, not on the story, okay, not on the story. But the only thing I can tell you is that the game looks pretty amazing, and the game really doesn't disappoint on the technical aspect. On the story, I really want to talk about that on the review I'm gonna make, and I hope you like that review. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. But now we're gonna talk about how this is gonna be mind blowing for some people. Just read this title. Your PS4 will absolutely hate running The Last of Us Part 2. This is a problem that I really want to know. We already know how the PlayStation 4 plays with heavy games. God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, Infamous Second Son, all those games, even Modern Warfare and Warzone, turns your PS4, PS4 Pro, PS4 Slim like a jet fan, and that is really not good in my opinion. So let's get right into it. Let's read it. As a final farewell showcasing everything Sony revered the PS4 has to offer, The Last of Us Part 2 with a push of the console to its limits. Naughty Dog highly anticipated Last of Us Part 2. As one of the swan song release lineup of the final months of the PlayStation 4 alongside Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us Part 2 promised harness and console full power. 7 years of developers getting to grips with Sony console culminating in a game that fully embraces its all hardware potential. A final farewell exhibit everything Sony River Black Box has to offer. The Last of Us closed off the PS3 era with one of the best looking games at the time, and Part 2 does very much at the same as the PS4. It's poetic and in fitting end to arguably one of the best Sony generations to date. But it sounds like The Last of Us Part 2 will quite literally push the PlayStation 4 to its limits. The Last of Us Part 2 pushed the PS4 through its paces. Washington Post reporter Gene Parks took to Twitter to share early impressions of the time spent with the review copy. While restricted by an embargo limited what can be shared, Park nevertheless had some telling news about the PlayStation 4 handles churning the game's shown in visual. We asked whether the game causes PS4 to go loud like that. Park explained that when running the game, the console pushed out more decibels than his air unit. I can answer this finally, lol. I laugh out loud. I have first model PlayStation 4 Pro. Vents are clean. During The Last of Us 2, the fans are louder than my air conditioning unit. They were so loud, I had to raise the volume up on my speakers, even when I knocked it down to 1080p mode. Okay, so that's one thing I want to talk about. So, The Last of Us Part 2 game, it's gonna push your hardware to its limits. So, if you don't have a clean PlayStation, or you have a really old PlayStation, be prepared and have some noise cancelling headset, because that motherfucker is gonna go loud. We continue reading. Park will have a throw and a bit of hyperbole to stretch the point, but the message is clear. The Last of Us Part 2 puts the PS4 Pro through its paces. It's safe to assume that the base PS4 model will react the same, if not worse. Anyone that owns the console is too familiar with the jarring crescendo of a fan wearing during a particular action-packed sequence, and even menu wheel cap frame rates. it might be worth investing on a pair of noise-canceling headphones to The Last of Us Part 2 launch. So what does this mean? What does this mean? So it means your PlayStation, it doesn't matter what PlayStation you have. The Last of Us will put your PlayStation to its limits. So beware, like really, don't have your PlayStation 4 too hot. Make sure it has some ventilation air, and make sure your PlayStation is clean, because I have, my PlayStation died because of that. Like, well, my PlayStation is the base PS4 day one, so I really repaired all the pieces. So right now I have a brand new PlayStation, but you can say that The Last of Us Part 2 will almost be a PlayStation killer. So that it's kind of really disappointment, because I know the game looks phenomenal. I really do. The game looks phenomenal, but this is something we have to be aware about. So guys, I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the news. Beware about the PlayStation 4 of The Last of Us Part 2. Beware about your console. Make sure it's clean. I hope you liked the first impressions of The Last of Us Part 2, what I have to say. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the channel, the video. Make sure you share it. And comment below, let me know what you think about everything about The Last of Us Part 2. Would you get it? Will you not? Would you pass on it? Or would you give it a chance just like me?